Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks so much for coming by today. Well, it's that time of the week, so we're just going to go over my reading for the past week, do a little update, what I got all into last week, and I got some really exciting things to talk about. So let's just hop right in. So last weekend, of course, was the Wasted Weekend, where we, for Garb August 1.5, hosted by Criminale, of course, and we were just, read a trashy book that weekend. So I did read Controlling Interest by Joyce. And this was book is from 1984, I think it was 1984. Is very much a book from 1984. It wasn't that great. It had a bit of, there's having some misogyny in here. And these two characters were actually just, slightly annoying to be like our main characters. Like you kind of want to like them, a little bit. But anyway, so we're following a woman named Laura, who is, one of my favorite tropes is when somebody goes back home, you know what I mean? So it does have that in. So her grandfather has passed away, and she was like, raised by her grandfather kind of thing, and they own this little kind of not seaside, but lakeside, kind of inn type place, off the Great Lakes. So it takes place in, kind of the Great Lakes area. And so she's heading back home. Her grandfather's passed away, and she's like, I'm gonna take over the business. She was a teacher, and she's like, that wasn't really, turned out that wasn't quite her bag, So I'm gonna take over the business. That's just reconnect with where she grew up, all those things. But lo and behold, when she gets there, she finds that her grandfather has sold for like 51% of this, of the inn, to this dude named Ryder. How cliche of a name is Ryder. And Ryder is a piece of work, okay? So he comes off very abrasive at times. Really like a know-it-all. They are kind of like oil and water, in the beginning. It's definitely kind of an enemies to lovers kind of trope. But he's actually this really amazing businessman who does this kind of thing, as far as he goes to like hotels and inns and whatever, and like helps them become profitable. And this little lakeside inn kind of needs a little help. And he has all these grand ideas and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm going to make these changes whether you like it or not. I know you're part of the, you're, the family and blah, 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 blah. And, basically he's like, you're just too stupid enough. You can't see the vision, stupid woman. You'll come around and basically it doesn't matter if you come around, because I'm going to do it anyway because I have controlling interest. Yeah, it's that kind of story. And, but they also they can't keep their hands off of each other, because they're both so wildly sexy and attractive. And it was enjoyable, but it's also like eye roll, you know what I mean? So it was fun, but product of his time, I would say, as far as a lot of the language used, it's very sexist and misogynistic at times. And this woman just like, lady, make up your mind what you want. Anyway, so yeah. So I finished that. I did start into Silverglass by J.F. Rifkin. This is sort of a fantasy novel. But I kind of was really in the mood. I didn't finish it. I just read maybe a couple of chapters. I just wasn't feeling it. It's not the story at all. I think I just wasn't in the mood, for like a fantasy type story. So I'm just going to save this for a later time. It's fine. I definitely want to still read it. So I'm just going to pause. Just going to put a pause on that one for now. But that was my wasted weekend. But it was a fun time, and I really enjoyed seeing what everybody else was reading that weekend, and people put some fun vlogs out for it and stuff like that. So it was definitely a fun little event, and I'm definitely like, ooh, I can't wait to bring out Fiber Tartsy back out for Garb August. So yes, so yeah, I read a couple other books that I'm not going to talk about here because I do have a little vlog coming out next week for them, so I won't talk about this now. But let's get into some other things that I finished. I did finish The Beast. I finished Swan Song by Robert McCammon, and this was pretty great. Yeah, this was great. I did the audiobook. The audiobook is an Audible exclusive, just so you know. worth it. Absolutely worth the credit for me, because it's like a 30-hour audiobook, and it helped me get through this really chunky book because I have so many books I want to get through this month, and the audio was done really well. I've been really bad about keeping track of the narrators. I need to do better with that, but the man did a really great job. He has this really kind of gravelly kind of voice, and yeah, it was good. And yeah, this was pretty great. So it is a sort of classic post-apocalyptic kind of story. It is, but it's based around a nuclear world ending event. This was when was this published? 1987. Was that right? Yeah, 1987. And I mean, there was definitely, we had fear of nuclear war, and it happens here. Russia, I don't know if it's just Russia, but bombs the hell out of us. I think we bombed the hell out of other people. So I think the whole world has just gone to shit, basically. But we're following basically sort of three sort of pockets of people as basically the fallout of all of this nuclear bombs have gone off. So there's a small group that we first meet in New York City. There's a little group that are in like the Kansas area, and then there's the guys that are down in the bunker. I forget what that was. Was that in Texas? I can't even remember now. But anyway, and kind of just navigating this absolutely destroyed world. And of course there's radiation. McCammon does a really wonderful job of describing how the landscape looks. I mean, with everything is just destroyed. Everything is destroyed. And of course how it affects people physically. They've got burned skin, burned skins, and blistery faces, hair's gone. People aren't, they're feeling the effects of radiation. All of that is done really well in here. Very, very well described, I thought. And like I said, there's just these sort of last remnants of people, but there's also this big bad guy who is basically this, I don't want to say man, but he's not really a man. He can shift. He's like a shapeshifter almost. He can go to make himself look like anyone, and we kind of learn his story and maybe what he had a little something to do with this nuclear disaster, and what his plans are for the future, and then there's also we meet her as a young girl, and her name is actually Swan, which I didn't really realize that the Swan song actually meant something. But she has a little magic in her as well. So she has some powers. I won't spoil anything, but she becomes very important in the story. And it does really becomes a sort of good versus evil kind of story, all around this sort of nuclear apocalypse. So it is long, it is chunky, but I never really felt that anything was unnecessary. I never really got bogged down. I think because it was just really wonderfully written, and the characters are so well written, super interesting, very engaging. Even like the the sort of bad guy characters are really super interesting, especially this kid. What was his name? Arnold? I think it was Arnold. I'm really bad at character names, I know, but even the bad guys were interesting. And then of course, it's just a journey of like meeting people along the way. Why do people have to be so mean to each other in apocalypse? Why can't we just be nice to each other? But it's all felt very real. And yeah, I don't know. It's good stuff. It's just really good stuff. And people that love it, you were right. It is definitely, it's worth the time. I know people compare it to The Stand a lot. As far as a big, sort of magnum opus of a post-apocalyptic book, and definitely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I think it's worth your time, even though it's big. The audio was great, helped me get through it for sure, and characters were great, setting was great, love the overall story. My favorite character is probably Sister. She's a creep, love her. Yeah, good stuff. Just, you gotta read it. You gotta read it to experience it for yourself. So, absolutely wonderful. I did pick up a little children's book for Folklore February. This is an event hosted by Kat from Kat's Novel Adventures, and one of the prompts is to read a folktale or something from a different country. And so I read a Korean story, The Green Frogs, a Korean folktale, and this was really fun. It was basically these two little frogs and the mama frog, and the mama frog tells them to do things, and the kid frogs don't ever listen, right? They don't ever listen, and the mama just gets tired of them not listening, and so by the end of the book, it's a children's book. I'm like a spoiler children's book. But so by the end of the book, so the mom dies at the end because, and years go by and their whole damn life, they don't ever listen to their mom. And, she says, before she died, she says, I want you to bury me in this place, knowing that they wouldn't listen, and so they would bury her in another place. And lo and behold, the one time they're like, oh, we really should have been listening to our mom this whole time, and so they bury her in the place that she told them to, and it just ended in disaster. Anyway, it's basically a story of listening to your mom. Okay, it was really done. The illustrations were really, really good, were really great, and just a really cute story. And talked about the frog sound in Korean, gaggle, gaggle. It was cute. It was a really cute little story, and so yeah, that was fun. And then just yesterday, I finished The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is, of course, the Patreon book club pick for Criminali's Patreon book club. Ooh, that was long. And of course, this one I bought this book several years ago now, and it's just been sitting there on my shelf like I do. I really want to read this book. I'm going to buy it, and then it sits on my shelf for 5 years. You know what I'm talking about. So, and of course, with the movie, coming out, or I think, it's out now, but of course, more people are reading it. I did listen to the audiobook. It is on Scribd, because I think with the movie coming out, of course, the wait time for the Libby, I think it is on Libby, was pretty long. So I just pulled it up on Scribd. And yeah, this was pretty great too. I really did enjoy this one. The premise, of course, I was always interested in, which is why I wanted to read the book. Essentially we've got a married couple. It is two men, and they've got an adopted daughter, and they just go to this cabin in a kind of remote area just to have some time away, a little vacation, little R&R. And the little girl is outside playing, and this stranger shows up, starts talking to her, and then it's like, okay, so we need you guys are going to be responsible for saving the world, and it's up to you guys. And they proceed to intrude into the cabin. Shit goes from there, right? And yeah, it was definitely pretty interesting. What I really liked, it started right away. Like, there was not sometimes you get a little build up, and there was a little bit of build up, but then it was like the guy was talking to the girl, and then they were in the cabin, and the shit was going down. So the story immediately just started right away. I really pulled that, so it immediately just kind of sucked me into the story. The characters I thought were great. Andrew and Eric and Little Win were super interesting. Even the baddie guys, Leonard especially. But I liked, was it Adrian? I liked her too. They all felt pretty distinct, and just the psychologicalness is that a word, of this story of are they telling the truth? Are they not telling the truth? It messes with your mind, right? So I really appreciated that part of the story. So yeah, overall, I had a really good time with it. It does have a pretty ambiguous ending, but which I didn't mind too much. And a gut punch in here too that I was not expecting. So yeah, overall I really liked this, and this is now my second Paul Tremblay book. So I read A Head Full of Ghosts, and I was kind of in on that book, but this one I really liked. I liked a lot. I like better than Head Full of Ghosts personally. So yeah, really excited to have finally read it. And now once the movie hits a streaming service, hopefully at some point, I'm definitely going to watch it. And actually, my husband is very interested in watching that movie when he saw the trailer. So I actually was trying to get him to read the book, but I don't know if he'll read it. I don't know if he'll want to read it or not, but I think it's a book that he would like to read, because it's not horror in the way that, because he's actually not a big horror fan. So I think he would enjoy this book. But we'll see. He doesn't read quite as much as I do. So, but anyway, yeah, very happy to have finally read the book, and yeah, really had a good time with it. Yeah, it was great. So yeah, that's all that I finished. I got several things in progress. I got a lot of things in progress. I am still working on I Will Kill You by Haley Scott. I have not been doing a lot of ebook reading this week, so I haven't. I think I read maybe a chapter. I just kind of, I don't know, slowly making my way through. I enjoyed it though. It's super interesting. But anyway, I read a couple more stories of the Grimm's fairy tales. Again, for Folklore February, I read The Gallant Tailor? Yeah, The Gallant Tailor, and then I read The Giant and the Tailor, because they're kind of related stories, and they were fun. A little different than what I was thinking that the stories that they were about, being only familiar with The Brave Little Tailor. I think it's called The Brave Tailor, or The Brave Tailor. What the hell is it called? The Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse story, the Mickey Mouse show. Anyway, I'm actually going to try to watch that one. I'm hoping it's on Disney Plus. I would assume it is, since it's, Mickey Mouse. But anyway, so those were fun. And so yeah, I also I did read another story in The Merry Spinster. What was the name of the story? What the daughter says. The Thankless Child, which I feel was definitely a spin on the Cinderella story, but I didn't really enjoy it. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. It didn't grip me like the first story did, which was the Little Mermaid kind of dark retelling. The Thankless Child lost me a little bit, so so we'll see. I'll make my way through the rest of these. I did also start on The Sister Who Ate Her Brothers and Other Gruesome Tales. This is by Jen Campbell, illustrated by Adam D'Souza. This is wonderful so far, absolutely wonderful, and she's actually also sort of adapting stories from other countries in here, so it kind of works for that prompt for the Folklore February. So look at the wonderful illustrations. So I read The Sister Who Ate Her Brothers, which is the title story, and this is a story from Korea. It was fantastic, and she goes to some really dark places. Even though this is a book for kids, it gets really dark, and I love it. And then what was the next one? Oh, The Souls Trapped Under the Ocean, which we see we have a merman and a dude. Yeah, so this guy falls in love with a merman, and so it's supposed to take on the Little Mermaid, but it involves like he's living off souls and stuff. So it was really good. And this one was fantastic. The House That Was Filled with Ghosts. This is of course a Japanese story. This one was excellent also. Really, and just the artwork in here is really lovely. And I loved this story. So this kind of poor man falls in love with this woman, and they want to get married, but her father's like, you're way too poor. You need to at least when you have a house of your own, I'll let you get married. And so he like has this idea to move into this haunted house that is named, and his wife sort of bewitches the ghost in the house. It's lovely. It's a lovely story. It really is. So I read those ones. The next one up is The Boy Who Tricked a Troll. That sounds so fun. So I'm loving these ones. So really having a good time with this collection. And what's next? So I think this will be next. I don't know had I started this last week? I don't remember, but I did start Moonwitch Spider King by Marlon James. I am doing a buddy read with this one with Brad Proctor. I don't think I started it yet, but I am not too far in, but I'm listening to the audio as I read along with this one, and really because it I don't know, it helps me get me into the world. It also helps with some of the pronunciation of names, and the narrator is Bonnie Turpin, who is one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and she does a really fantastic African accent, which this is an African setting of a fantasy book, and it's just adding so much depth to the story. I'm loving it. So this one we're learning about Sogalon, who we meet in book 1 of this series. She's the witch of the series, and so we meet her as a young child, and kind of so we're getting her backstory. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Loving being back in this world with this type of storytelling that Marlon James has, the way that he's writing this story. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So really enjoying that. And so that's all the things I've got in progress. So yeah, another good week. I mean, other than that one story, the Mary Spencer stories, just, yeah, I'm just having a really fun time reading. And yeah, so, excuse me, I will say that Coral announced her My Bloody Valentine Readathon. So that's starting on the 12th of February and going, is it the 12th? I wrote it down. Well, whatever Sunday is, I think that's the 12th. The week of Valentine's, the Sunday to Saturday of the Valentine's Day. So it's, read horror books around Valentine's, and she did it last year. And so she's back for round 2. So I'm definitely going to try to participate because it's a fun event. You know, I like to support folks. So here are her prompts, and see what I've got. I think I might read this week to add, because I'm just going to throw new books on my TBR. Why not? So a book by an indie author, and I think I'm going to try to finish out I Will Kill You by Haley Scott. And I think that will work for that. And then also the second prompt is to read a book with a slasher or a killer, and I'm going to use I Will Kill You for that also. I haven't got to much killing yet, but I'm thinking it's coming. I think it's coming. I'm still only like a quarter of the way into this book. Maybe not even a quarter. So I'm gonna use that for the prompt, assuming that a book called I Will Kill You has killing in it. You know what I'm saying? So prompt 3 is to read a book with a body part in the title. I'm gonna pull out an old Goosebumps, because the Goosebumps are always good for week-long, events. And How I Got My Shrunken Head. Yeah, that should work. This will be fun. 2 heads are better than one. What has 2 eyes, a mouth, and wrinkly green skin? Mark's shrunken head. So this will be fun. And then the last prompt is to read a book written or set in the 80s. And I got this one, which is, I looked it up earlier in the time period, but now I have forgotten. And it just makes the mark by 1989. And I'm going to read this point horror book, The Secret Admirer by Carol Ellis. It seems pretty appropriate for Valentine's Day to read a book probably about a stalker, I'm assuming. So this should be fun. And these read really quickly. So this should be really fun. Really excited. I love the lettering on that. Isn't that great? So those are my plans. So that should be fun. So of course I'll link Coral below. I'll link her announcement video below. If you missed it, definitely join in. Definitely join in if you want, because it's a fun event. Okay. Oh gosh, these videos are always so long. I got a couple of books on the haul. I did unload some books in a little free library. And while I was there, I did see a Goosebumps book. So one I don't have. This is Vampire Breath. So just adding that to my Goosebumps collection. I didn't buy it, so I don't think I'm breaking the rules of my read what you own challenge. And also I essentially traded 5 books for this one. So we're gonna call it even. And Goosebumps are ones that I collect anyway. So it's fine. I also got my Nightworms package, so spoiler if you hadn't gotten yours yet, but I did get a copy of Alison Rumfitt's Tell Me I'm Worthless. So I have the original version of this one, because I bought it last year, proceeded not to read it. So it got re-released this year through, is it Nightfire? Yeah, through Nightfire. So, well, maybe I'll do a giveaway at some point, but I definitely need to just read the book now that I have 2 copies of it, right? I've heard good things, so I'm looking forward to it. And then, of course, we got How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I'm so excited! So excited to read this one. I've got a really cool book plate with this character I'm thinking is appropriate to the story. I don't know. It says, "Do not read this book. Obey the puppet worm." Obey the puppet worm. It's And then it got this too. Is there a character here called Pupkin? I'm not sure. We'll see. This little Valentine Pupkin says, "Be mine." Isn't that cute? Which I'm thinking is related to this book. I'm not really sure. But it's got on the back, you know, how to sell a haunted house stuff. So I'm assuming it's related. So I'm going to just kind of tuck that into my book. I'm really excited to read this. I don't think I'll get to it here in February. I've just got way too much going on. So maybe in March. I'll read it at some point. I know it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah. And I think that's been my reading week. I'm super excited. I am gearing up for a little announcement video coming next week on the 15th. So please look out for that. It's a little event I've got coming up in March, and that I hope some folks will like to join us in. And so keep an eye out for that. I got a little reading vlog coming out for Valentine's Day. Other than that, yeah, same old stuff. And I've been watching The Last of Us like everyone else. Just watched episode 5 last night. It tore me up. It was so good. This show is so good. It's so good. But other than that, whoa, there's a big blue heron outside the window. I've got a little pond in our neighborhood. It's not really, it's like a retaining pond. There was a huge blue heron outside. Oh my God. Anyway, I've never seen him out there before. Okay. Where was I? I just geeked out over blue heron. I was going to say something. I forgot. So I guess I'll just leave it there since I forgot what I was saying. I chatted about Everything Everywhere All at Once, the movie. We did a little chat over there of Steve Talks Movies channels. And that was a really great discussion. I loved that movie. Loved it so much. It was so good. Other than that, I'm blabbing now. I got so distracted by the blue heron. Okay. That's it. I hope you had a great week. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're kind of fighting off any kind of February funk. I've been a little funky this week. Not feeling my best. You know, I had to take a personal day from work because I just needed some quiet. You know what I mean? But I'm hanging in there. I'm going to make it through these winter months. Spring's right around the corner. So hang in there to everyone that might be kind of struggling. I hear you. I see you. Yeah, we're gonna be okay. And yeah. Blah. So I'm blabbing too much. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate your time. Until next time. Bye, friends.